Round 2 of the McLaren Return to Glory on F1 23 is here. This is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix at Jeddah. Guys, before we jump into this one, if you haven't seen round 1 at Bahrain, the season opener, before we get things really kind of sped up and start to really put upgrades on, check out the opener, link in the top right. Guys, also a big thank you for the support on that first episode, and the channel's doing really well, so just a big thank you. Anyway, we're going to jump into this weekend's episode, and as you can see, we have first and foremost a department event for the durability, which we have to choose to go to the sim or attend a meeting. As you guys know from the last episode, durability is actually one of our strong suits right now, so it's not necessarily important. So I'm actually going to accept going to the sim and not go to the meeting because we don't need this right now. As for this weekend, we have upgrades to work on. Another failure, 3 in a row. 3 upgrades, 3 failures, which really isn't the ideal start. We repurchase it and it still should arrive for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So yeah, confirmation also of the 2 repurchased aero upgrades, which we did in the last episode. And officially for this weekend's race in Jeddah, we're going to have a triple upgrade on the car. All 3 of them are minor, but it's a triple upgrade nonetheless. And we're going to add to that by doing another couple of aero upgrades, which should arrive for the next race in Australia. So as you guys know, aero is the weakest part of our car. We are second from bottom now. That's quite a long way away from where we want to be, so we have to basically get that pushed up. Also, big discount on spark plugs, so we're going to go ahead and get that straight away, and that will move us just slightly up the table and probably into the top end of the midfield. But yeah, also, as you can see here, a couple of days later, we got confirmation the decision went down pretty well to go to the sim, and everything more or less worked out okay. So yeah, also confirmation of that repurchased chassis upgrade, and we're now ready, locked in to go into this weekend's race at Jeddah. So first things first, performance chart. In round 1, we was the 9th best team. We are now the 6th best team. Big step forward, and the upgrades making the difference, and we're now behind Alpine, and then there's a big gap for the top 5, so work needs to be done. We're top 4 in this case, which is Aston Martin, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. Now then, practice went off without a hitch. Very smooth, car working pretty well. This is the first time I've tried to make a setup of my own using, I guess, F122 as a baseline and basically making some tweaks with the new system. And I don't know how I feel about it. Default, in hindsight, actually felt pretty good in Bahrain last race, especially in that second stint. Pace-wise, it looked okay. Tyre was a bit high. Fuel consumption, not too bad. We got a bunch of boosts, or discounts, what I like to call them, after practice, and our total points now over 2,000, so we'll hopefully get some good upgrades on at the start of the next episode. Also, you can see we've got a few discounts for durability as well, which is something at some point we're going to have to get onto because it's inevitable. Otherwise, it will catch up with you at some point. Either way, we're going to jump into qualifying, and we're now going to start to really ramp things up and see exactly what kind of pace we have around here. And I'm looking forward to it because Bahrain is usually a tougher circuit for me. This should hopefully suit us a bit better, but I could be wrong. Anyway, first lap. In anger, soft tyres on, and we completely outbrake ourselves into the first chicane. So I kept on pushing just to kind of get my feet wet. Through the chicane into the hotel, again, just running completely wide of the apex and not really doing a good job. And we're going to close out the lap with our first banker, and it's going to be a 1:28.9, 1:29.1, and that is last place at the time, P12, and a long way off. So I went again for a second push lap after a cool off. I went for a second one, I had enough fuel, and I basically corrected the mistakes that I made in the last run, and we found half a second, which was great. And we actually found a little bit more time, as you'll see here in the final corner. So very good second lap, and this will get us much more kind of where we need to be in the region of pace. And across the line, it's going to be a 28.4 and P17.
They're in 10th place. So their best lap time is a 1:28.0.
That's not bad. Only 4/10 off Lando. That's a better improvement than Bahrain, where we was like 8, 7, 6/10 off. It was pretty big. You can see the margins are not too bad. Sectors 2 and 3 are pretty decent. Sector 1's a bit poor, which signals or tells me that the aero is a bit low. But here we are, final run, and I had a bit of an altercation here with Sonoda because he was pressuring me to overtake, and then when I let him by, he would then slow down and stop to let me back through. So the AI, as usual, being a bit stupid with the blue flags, as was the case in F1 22. So eventually Sonoda got on with it, but now I'm basically impeding Zhou Guanyu, and my tyres are not fully warmed up. We're a little bit cold on temp, so this really isn't ideal. Either way, hopefully we don't impede Zhou on this one as we make our way into our final attempt in qualifying. The first chicane though isn't great, and we lose a 10th. Exit was okay. I should have probably not short shifted as you lose torque and turbo. We get stuck on the sausage curb there, which is a common theme here. Jeddah has been reprofiled. All the curbs are now elevated like in real life, so there's a lot more of a challenge now. And you can see here I'm just not sorting it out. There's a bit of time to find right there on the very last one when you exit the S section, but I chose to actually drive on and let Zhou go by. I had done a quick bit of maths and I realised I had enough time to get back around and try one more time. So we've got the fuel and the battery. So are you enjoying the video so far? If so, subscribe, because that really helps me out. I want to try and reach 100k this year. Also, in return, you get daily content. We found a bit of space on track, and now we're going to get one last attempt in, and hopefully this time we can nail it. We've got a nice bit of temperature in the tyres, so we're going to see if we can improve. First chicane, pretty much matched it. Could have taken a bit more curb in turn one, but that's okay. Now into the S section, we just got to make sure we match it through here. We bottom out a little bit again there on that curb as I'm trying to fight the back end. But now through here we absolutely nail it, get a beautiful run, brush the wall there a little bit, which isn't ideal, but we find that time.
Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of it.
We find that time on the exit, which I knew was there, and now through the banker, a bit more time found, keeping the car nice and tight. And we're now using the new revised track with the barriers being pushed back to basically cut down as many meters as possible and to shorten the distance on these kind of straights, and just gain as much lap time as possible. DRS open as we prepare the hotel chicane, which is very tough this year I find, and you have to kind of turn in earlier than what your gut feeling says, and that is really nice, right on the money, and we find another half a tenth, which is great. Making our way then, one more corner to go, the final corner. We're going to try and brake just before the black box on the top right, and then kind of aim your car to the apex if you can. We just run a little bit wide of the apex, and the exit was not as good as the last one, so we don't really gain anything in that final corner. But across the line we go. It's an improvement, but we're out. It's Q1 knockout, second race in a row, and we don't quite make it through. However, a big improvement compared to Bahrain. The field spread is a lot closer, but also crucially we're closer to Lando, and just in general we were way more competitive in that session, and there wasn't exactly a smooth lap. I feel like I could have actually got through quite easily. Sector 1 is where the issue was. You know, we brushed the wall in the S section, and we didn't exactly maximize turn 1. There's a few little niggles here and there, so I do think we could have actually got through. The final corner could have been a bit better as well, so I'm not mad about it, but it's still not ideal that we're starting this far back when I could have got through. Either way, I'm encouraged. We've made some improvements. The upgrade's working, the setup working, and we're much more competitive here in Jeddah, guys. So yeah, qualifying done. I'm usually better in the race, so let's get into it and let's see if we can hopefully fight for some points.
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world, Jeddah, one of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca, and one of the biggest ports in the region. And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah street circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Norris, Ocon, Bottas, Gasly, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Joe, Sonoda, Albon, Martinez, De Vries and Logan Sargent. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And what would any Grand Prix weekend be without the one and only Anthony Davidson alongside me, as always, to talk you through the action? Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen?
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? One more thing to consider is the strategy element. How far can the drivers push these tyres, and who's going to blink first for fresh rubber? It'll be interesting to see if the leaders have to compromise their plan to cover off the cars behind them.
Now then, here we are for the main event, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, P18 on the grid. To be fair, similar situation to Bahrain. The difference, I think we have a better race car, and I think we can compete and fight. Also, I'm going to go in a bit of a different direction. So for this one, we're going to start on the medium and then go for the hard tyre. We're going to basically invert the strategy of Bahrain, and starting on the hard tyre didn't really work. So I'm going to basically now start on the medium, see how that goes. Maybe we can learn some information for future races and take that on board with us for the future. Fuel-wise, I'm going for 0.9. That's what the game recommended. I'm not going to change it. I added a bit more in Bahrain and didn't have to, so we're going to stick with what the game says. We're going to keep this out the same. Happy with the balance. Everything seems decent. And yeah, guys, we're going to get into it. So leave a like on the episode if you're enjoying it so far. Also subscribe, that's the main thing. I'm trying to reach 100k, so if you want to help me reach that target, please subscribe, as that would massively help me out. And yeah, finally, a prediction down below, guys, in the comments. Do you think we'll get points? Do you think we'll finish in the points? Let me know. Seems like everyone is on soft tyres, which could be an issue. It seems like the AI are able to run a bit softer compound in terms of race track. Also, maybe they could be two-stopping, which doesn't seem a completely out of the question option in these races so far. Tyre wear's higher this year, so a two-stopper isn't the worst thing in the world. Okay, here we go. Let's hopefully get a better race start than in Bahrain, where we bogged down massively. Not necessarily down to the tyre, we just lost revs. Although this time, we overshoot our grid box. Right, let's get to it. Oh, it's happened again. Oh my god, why am I losing revs off the start all of a sudden now? It's not ideal. We'll fire back around the outside into one. Slight bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there with Albon as we make our way out of turn 2 down to turn 3. This could get a bit tricky, a bit tight. We'll try and find some space. Does seem like literally everyone's on softs, so we're on a bit of a different strat here. I guess we'll find out that AI do soft medium or soft hard, but we're going to be on the back foot. I don't think my wings are particularly high anyway, so we're going to be struggling to keep up in the corners. I just hope it's not a Bahrain 2.0. We can actually keep up somewhat. We're going to have to get these tyres fired up quick and try to keep up. The AI running at a very strong pace so far. The pace from the AI is really strong so far, but we're just about hanging on. They're all still pretty much together as a pack of cars. This will be the first test to see how strong they are through Sector 1, which is what I'm worried about, so let's see. Although, to be fair, they're in traffic, so I don't think they'll pull away that much. The medium doesn't feel that bad. It's manageable, definitely better than the hard tyre, so that's a small positive we can work with. Just got to make sure we have DRS by next lap. That's the key thing here. Bit of understeer as Albon now goes for the move on his teammate. As long as the AI battle, we'll always be in contact with the AI. Albon with a lock-up, costing Sargent some valuable time. That puts us on the back of them now, but still going to be hard to keep DRS. It's amazing how much precision you really need, especially in this game, through that S section. If you get it right, you find so much time. I mean, this lap I've managed to keep up easily with Sargent. Although the AI usually from lap 3 tend to just nerf the power down on their engines a little bit. But right now, we're keeping up, and that's what matters. There's some big battles going on up ahead. De Vries now battling with both Williams cars as they're all switching around. I'm trying to not use battery right now. I'm trying to get my batteries charged up. Hence why we're not involved. Our race begins in a few laps' time once the softs start to die off a little bit. Tyre wear is very high. Very high for me. I wonder what the AI are doing, but we are There's some pretty worn rubber already after just 5 laps. Or 4 laps really. Big scrap up ahead in the midfield. You can see on the mini-map there's a huge just bunch of cars up the road as Sargent goes for the move on De Vries, who has dropped out of DRS range of Alex Albon, but will probably soon be back in the mix as we catch up to this pack of cars. I wonder if they may be 2-stopping. Maybe their tyre wear is high and they'll just 2-stop it. Right, things could kick off here. I'm going to use a bit of battery and position myself to try and pass both of these guys. There's a big scrap up ahead, so I want to try and see if we can get involved. Right, lovely exit. Our straight line speed is very strong. Can we get Sargent? Oh my god, he moves across. But I'm going to commit anyway. Nice. Had to get that move. We can now latch onto Albon here. Try my best. I've pulled away from Sargent and De Vries, but the gap has stayed around 2.1, 2.2 seconds. I'm using battery. The AI still haven't pit, so they're probably one-stopping it. But we're not going to catch up unless they battle. Right, we're pretty much out of battery now, so I've done what I can. Just need to hope they battle now and we can close in. There's still a big pack of cars ahead. I need to get in someone's DRS, otherwise we're not going to charge the battery. Oh, Pierre Gasly in the pits. First one to bite the bullet. Checo in there as well. I might pit this lap, to be fair. Try and undercut some of these cars ahead and get myself in the mix.
Caution, caution.
Oh, yellow flag. Someone up ahead. Let's see who it is. It's Ferrari again. This time it's Carlos.
Information on Sainz. Right, they've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
This time Carlos Sainz out
Okay, clear.
of the race. Here comes Checo. I won't fight it, and we'll make sure to get a bit of DRS, which could actually help me, to be fair. I might stay out now and follow him. Oh my god, look at the lack of grip we have. Wow. Still, we'll keep DRS for this and also pit straight. It'll keep us in play for a bit. Actually, I'm going to pit.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
I feel like it's worth it because Checo's going to catch those cars and cause a bit of chaos. So we can bite the bullet early. Great stop, 2.2, that's exactly what we need. If we can get the pace on straight away and get these tyres fired up, this lap could be key.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
Right, back onto the track. Let's push. This outlap is going to be very, very important for our race. We'll use all the battery we have. We're getting dropped quite badly. The AI on the medium, of course, they're going to be way quicker. We're in the same situation. We just seem to have higher tyre wear, which is costing us. I have to run a compound harder to keep my tyre wear in line with everyone else. But let's see. Here we go. The remaining cars in the pits. Have we done enough to get ourselves in the mix? That's the real question. Yes, we have. And we've got a few hard tyre runners, so not everyone's on the medium. Can we get onto Alonso on the cold tyre? That would be nice. Try and get his DRS. A little bit wide there. Magnussen will go through. I'm not going to fight. Got no battery. There's definitely not as much of an issue this year with cold tyres out the pits. You can easily drive and get onto the pace. But anyway, we've got ourselves somewhat in the mix. We need the gap to the cars ahead to close though, as the remaining cars pit.
Lando's coming in for his stop now.
I'm just stick behind K-Mag for a bit and charge. Let's see who's in the pits. Lando's in there. Aston Martin in there. Okay, this could be interesting. Let's see where this brings us. Personal best, even with letting cars through. Hulkenberg's in there as well. And there they are. They're going to fill that gap to Alonso pretty much. Right, so P14, and the points are in sight. we've given ourselves a chance here, which is all we had to do and all we could do. So we've achieved that. Now we've got to try and stay competitive. K-Mag pushing quite hard right now. I'm using the battery to keep up whatever I've got left. Cannot afford to get dropped. Very important that we stay with these guys now. There'll be more battles ahead. There'll be more opportunities to close in. Although somehow I didn't even get the ice there, which is a bit annoying. I'm out of battery now, completely out. Down to my last 1%. Don't know if we're hanging on anymore. I can't even charge behind these guys, and also I've been dropped again. So I think we're just lacking a little bit, man, which is a real shame. The gap's really growing now. The pace of the cars in front is just too strong. They're not battling. And we just lack a couple of attempts. Archon's closing in. He's bringing the party with him, so we'll get more action soon. This ain't going to be an easy ride, this one. Tyre wear's really high, man. I think we're just struggling. I don't know if I got the wrong setup or what. I went preset 4 with a pretty big wing offset to the front, but clearly that may have been a mistake. Archon now closing in. He'll probably pass me on the next straight. And I won't fight it. We'll just try and slot him behind and see if he has enough pace to maybe drag us forward.
That's just 5 laps of fuel remaining.
Here he goes. We'll just slot him behind and follow as they're battling up ahead anyway, so this might also help us get a bit of battery. So going for the move here actually, I was surprised. And he's holding up in terms of straight line speed, he's holding his own. But we're gonna make our car nice and wide and stay in front for now. Got decent pace behind Archon, and we're actually catching the cars ahead, so long may it continue. I think we might have a late chance. This isn't ideal, but we'll keep Joe at bay.
Yellow flag.
Oh, okay. Retirement or possible contact. Guess we're about to find out. Joe not really putting pressure on. Alonso out as he pulls over. So this is now about to repeat 13.
Green flag.
Last up of the race, and we're catching. You can see the gap, and visually you can see the cars ahead. This might not be over. Let's see what happens here. Verstappen wins. And I can't believe it, but we've actually caught up on the very last lap. Nothing's going to happen, but wow. Unbelievable. That's how powerful the DRS is, and we've completely messed up the hotel section. Joe's probably going to have a lot of battery in the reserves. He's pushing us along. I'm just going to try and defend the line. Hulkenberg looking to get through. I'm going to defend. Oh, we lock up the rears, but look at that. Look how close it was in the end. We all bunched up. One more lap, and who knows what could have happened. Wow.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
A sterling effort from the team and a magnificent drive to secure victory here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win? Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
And there we have it, guys. That is the race done at Jeddah. Verstappen the victor, Leclerc second, and Perez third with the fastest lap. Both Mercs in the top 5, and then pretty much the chaos begins. Gasly, who was battling with Alonso for P6, and then Stroll P7, and then Lando P8. Scores a few points again, so happy to see that. He was at the front of the train. And then that train consisted of Albon, Bottas, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Ocon, myself, Hulkenberg, Zhou, and then Sargent towards the back with Nick De Vries, and Alonso and Sainz, the Spaniards, out of the race. So standings after 2 rounds. Checo leads the way by 10 points over his teammate. Lando holding down a top 10 position, and I believe we're probably going to be one of the higher ones of the non-point scorers. Yes, we are. So we're second of the 0-point championship in the Constructors, P6, and we're holding it down. That's the best we can do right now. Alpine, Aston Martin are a step above us and a bit too far. Even though Alpine are 5th in the performance chart and Aston Martin are 4th, a long way ahead. They haven't quite got it together yet, but I feel like P6 is the best we can do right now, so we just got to make sure we try and pick up those points and gradually build the gap. So yeah, guys, that is it for today's episode. Leave a like and subscribe, very, very important. It really helps me out, guys, so let's try and leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel for daily F1 content, guys, which is what it's all about. As always, a big shout out to the channel members for supporting as always, and also check out the 2 videos related to F1 23 content in the background. And yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next one in Australia. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.